What's good, people? It's your boy Twale back again with another Kingdom video. This time we're going to be discussing Hyou and what his role would have been in the story had he not been killed in the assassination attempt on Issei. So, we all know how Hyou lived. He was Shin's only friend. He and Shin had over 1,000 duels together. They both had the dreams of becoming the world's greatest great general. Basic stuff. Now, in his fight to protect Issei and as posing as Issei's body double, he was able to boost the morale of Shibunkin's vassals and Shibunkin soldiers. He was able to kill enough of Oki soldiers to actually break through and make an attempt to get free. And he would have succeeded in breaking free and had more men with him, probably to fight the Vermilion Slayer, had he not sent Hyou off and a portion of his soldiers to go deal with saving Shibunkin. You know what I'm saying? So even amongst the chaos and everything, he still had enough forethought to send a detachment to assist Shibunkin in those dire moments. Although he had no idea of the relationship between Shibunkin and Oki, it was still like a good thought on his part to make sure that happened. And that's probably what led to his death, seeing as how he didn't have that many soldiers around him to protect him when the Vermilion Slayer came. So, in my hypothetical, I'm proposing that the Vermilion Slayer wounds Hyou, but he doesn't mortally injure Hyou. Hyou is still able to make it back to the mayor's house, and he's able to warn Shin and give Shin the message and everything, but he's still alive and he's not on the brink of death. Now, what I believe would happen at this point is I believe the Vermilion Slayer would catch up. Shin would be more in tune with fixing Hyou and trying to patch his injuries as opposed to just rushing off to saving Issei. And he would end up fighting the Vermilion Slayer right then and there as they, were taking care of Hyou at the mayor's house. So, because he wants to protect Hyou from the Vermilion Slayer, who either one, thinks Hyou is still the king, or two, knows that Hyou is the body double at this point and thinks Hyou has information on where the king is. So Shin would protect Hyou from the Vermilion Slayer, killing him, proving Hyou's point to the king that if there was an enemy that he couldn't defeat, Shin could definitely defeat him. Now, after they defeat the Vermilion Slayer, or after Shin defeats the Vermilion Slayer, him and Hyou would make their way to Hebi Village to meet up with Issei. I believe that even if he had to carry Hyou, Shin, without any pursuers after him, would make it to Issei before the army made it to Issei, and then everything would unfold the way it did in the story. Issei, Hyou, and Shin would meet Kario Ten. She would show them the secret passageway out of the village, and from there they would head to Dupmu's retreat. Now, from there, I think things will be slightly different, but not too different. I think that instead of Issei being the one to give Shin the motivation to not step back or to not withdraw, I think it would be Hyou. And from there, I think everything else will play off relatively the same. They would link up with the mountain tribe. Shin would have his moment punching Tajifu. They would eventually retreat, and then they would eventually, get Yotanwa and everybody to join them. Where I think Hyou's role would be at in the actual assault of the capital would be he would be with Issei. He would be with Issei and Yotanwa in the outside court, while Shin, Bajio, Tajifu, and Heki was in the side corridor making their way to Sekio. I think here is the point where Hyou would realize that he would realize what his role is. And I feel like after this is where him and Shin would either develop into their own paths, or they would unify and become one solid force. So let's just go with that to start off with. Him becoming Shin's lieutenant. Had Hyou lived, he easily would have become one of Shin's lieutenants, replacing just giving the High Shin unit just a whole new level of firepower and a whole new level of intelligence, because although he might not have been as strong as Shin, he was superior in intelligence to Shin even from the jump. So with the addition of Hyou and the subtraction of N, I feel like the Hyou unit from the early portion, say from 100-man commander to 1,000-man commander, right before they got 10, I feel like they would have had an easier time with a lot of those battles, a lot of adjustments that they had to make. And in addition to that, I feel like with Hyou being on the battlefield and all of the experience that he's gained in those fights, I feel like he would have been able to step up as the strategist while while Kyokai was out. I feel like he would have been able to step up as the strategist, and that would have been a better dynamic for the Hyou unit to have like Shin as the commander, and then his right lieutenant being Hyou, being very capable in terms of martial might and strategies, and then his left lieutenant Kyokai being capable in martial might and strategies. That would have made the Hyou unit way too broken in the early stages of Kingdom. Now, there's always the path that he could have taken by himself. He could have become his own commander, and in that sense, I truly feel like Hyou would have been a rival to Shin along the lines of Moten and Uhon. However, I feel like Moten and Uhon would have had a higher cap, a higher ceiling. So, not to disrespect Hyou, and I do believe he's a great character. He would have been a great general, but I don't believe he would have actually made it to great general status. I believe Hyou would have been along the lines of a Akko or Banaji, SSJ. He would have been the top tier of the baseline generals. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would have been upper echelon of generals at the peak, at the cusp, right before great general like Quinn Six, Great Heavens, things of that nature. And I feel like in that role, he would have been one of Quinn's best generals. Like I said, he might not have been one of their one of their great generals, but he would have been one of their greater generals in particular. Now, me in particular, I really feel like his story role would have best served him as one of Issei's vassals and as one of Issei's bodyguards. I truly feel like in the early portions of Kingdom, the political and warfare, like the political war and the actual battlefield war, the dynamic between that is what made Kingdom great. And if we had another main character along the lines of Shin who was still growing, like I know that's what Issei was, but I feel like Issei's development was already, how do I say, it was already there. You know what I'm saying? He was already the king. He just needed to acquire all of the power that comes with being a king. Whereas Hyou would have been growing from, say, a low minister, a low lord, and been working his way up the political ladder, and that would have been how Shin got enough political backing to become a general in the first place, things of that nature. I really feel like having Hyou there with Issei would have given us more attachment to the political side of what's going on, to the political drama. Although it would have been difficult for Horror to draw two exact characters in the same area, I still feel like Hyou would have been a great fit for that tutelage role that, you know what I'm saying, Shibunkin could have been playing with Heki, in terms of like Heki becoming a minister or things like that. Like, I feel like he could have played that role with Hyou, and Hyou would have steadily rose up the ranks. Other than that, I really feel like Hyou was just a character that we lost too early, and he was a character that had a lot of potential in Kingdom. So, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Peace.